So give me you guys' draft day story, like how it went and, who called and what was that feeling like?
Let me see.
I'll let Chad go since he's the guest.
Yeah, I was in Miami. I was in Liberty City at my grandmother's house. Family, everybody was there. I never forget. Everybody was outside. We had the DJ, food, the whole 9 yards. And I watched the draft in my grandmother's bedroom on the floor, away from everybody, so I could relax and be in peace, and watch and not hear, oh man, you go here. You know how people are on draft day.
Yeah.
And so I was in there watching that piece and having fun. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vic went first, right? Vic went first that year.
Yep.
Wasn't it? Yeah, Vic went first.
Number one pick, yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching, enjoying it, and I'm just so happy that I'm knowing that my name is going to get called. When it was going to get called, I didn't know, but I sat there and watched that thing. And when they got to the second round, and as Mel Kiper says, like what do you call them? The best players like up next,
best players available.
Yeah. And my name was like 2 away, or was like up next. Dude, I started getting antsy and started getting excited.
Yeah.
I never forget. And when that phone rang,
man,
and the tear, dude, they didn't even say my name. They didn't even say my name good, and the tears just started flowing.
Yeah.
All I could think about was not just so much of getting drafted and getting my name called and then going across the ticker on that screen. I think about all the shit I put my grandma through to get to this point.
Yeah.
All the work, all the sacrifice, all the driving back and forth to school and dropping me off and getting in trouble or having to come to detention and all the referrals. And it was just such a feeling I really can't describe. And she was the first one. When my name got called, I looked for her in front of everybody to give her that hug first.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, we finally made it.
Right.
We finally made it.
So you were drafted in the second round. What pick were you?
36, the 6th pick of the second round.
Second round, 36 pick.
36 pick, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, 36 second round. Yep.
What about you, Hatch? I was third round, 89th pick.
So I was the 25th receiver taken.
No, I didn't ask you all about that. 25th. I asked you what round. I asked you what round and what pick.
25th receiver taken in the 7th round at 3:22 on April 21st, 1997. I remember yesterday.
You said 3:22
at 3:22 p.m. on a Sunday.
What?
You remember the time?
Right.
I remember the time.
7th round. What pick?
Pick 235, and I was the 25th receiver taken that year. Right, 235 out of 240. There was only 5 picks left in the whole draft. But again, going back to what Chad said, it's when I got picked that the phone rang, and I remember it was Denny Green on the other line, and Denny Green said, "Matthew Hatchett, you ready to be a Minnesota Viking?" And again, it all came over me. It wasn't about the moment, but my mind went back to every single sprint I ran, every single bench press, every single.
Really?
I begged God to please let me just have an opportunity. And so, at that time we would go straight to a mini camp. So me and Denny Grant talked for 2 minutes. He put me on with the personnel people to get our flight together, go down to Minnesota. So we had about a 5-minute conversation. And then I remember hanging up the phone and I walked out of my apartment and I just put my hands in the air. I just started crying and thanking God, because again, it was people don't understand that moment in your life, you only get a couple of them. We're going to have a 5-second moment, but everything you've done in life is within that 5-second moment.
It's life-changing. Life-changing.
And I just lost it. I ran around the block, just thank you, God. And I was a Minnesota Viking, man. It was a day that, I'll never forget the moment of that day.
Wow. For me, I guess I wasn't as introspective as you guys were. I think I remember, like I said, I was 3rd round, 89th pick. For me, I remember one of our our linebacker coach at the time, Corey Edmonds. He basically opened up his apartment for us to watch the draft. I ideally kind of knew in the back of my head, based on talking to my agent at the time, us really assessing what I had done as far as my individual workouts, my pro days, just where I was on the draft boards after GMs and scouts saw me at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile. I think that's where I think my stock draft status started to rise a bit because they got to see me in person. They had an opportunity to assess and physically and visibly see me against all the other receivers that were down there in the Senior Bowl. Guys like Amani Toomer, Mercury Hayes. These are guys, a couple of guys that were there. That, like I said, I got to really kind of measure and size myself up against. And so me just sitting draft day, I didn't really think too much of it, but I knew based on those weeks of preparing and leading up to the actual draft is that 1996, it was looked upon as like the receiver draft. Like the last couple of years, it has been, you've seen that the last two years have been drafts for quarterbacks. 1996 was drafts for quarterbacks where Keyshawn Johnson was the number one pick. I had 11 to 12 guys that go before me that year. So for me, it was an opportunity because I ideally knew that I could probably go as early or late third round, but the earliest that they projected me to go would have been like late second round. That would have been great, but that didn't happen. So I had to wait through the first and second round. I wasn't one of those guys that got invited to New York to enjoy what those first and second rounders got to experience. And so after I did all my workouts and assessing everything, I thought based on the couple of picks that were left, it was Green Bay and the San Francisco 49ers. So Green Bay, I thought I was going to go to Green Bay. So Green Bay had the 88th pick. And so when they didn't announce my name, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to go in the fourth round. Little did I know, obviously, with the Niners having the 89th pick, I had no idea that I was even on their board of receivers to be drafted. But when I look back on it now, it made sense because where they were with who they had on their squad with Jerry Rice, J.J. Stoke, who was looked upon as the heir apparent to Jerry Rice. I fit that mold. I fit the prototypical type of receiver that they had been drafting and what they were looking for, especially when you look at the John Taylors, guys like that, Mike Sherrard, Nate Singleton. These are guys that were 6 feet and above. That I fit that mold. Share, subscribe, show us some love. Get your popcorn ready podcast with T.O. and Hatch.